Fine. So last lecture we have seen like how we can create an application, all right, one CRM application. The good part of this whole creation was like we merely don't require to write any code for this, and we were being able to get all the functionality of sales, service, and marketing, and whatever is there, right, into our application in the day one itself. So because see, understand one thing, the whenever this package, in the package, in the sense, this particular developer account what we have created, it by default, it have all the functionalities of sales cloud, service cloud, marketing cloud, app launcher, app cloud, community cloud, which is actually an experience cloud, and then Salesforce chatter, which is collaboration cloud. That actually means whenever these accounts get created, whenever this organization is being provided to us from the Salesforce, it come up with so many inbuilt functionalities. All right. Now, when you create an application, any custom application for this, for example, this one what you have created, right? This one what you have created. Now, this application, you could ask, uh, you could include the functionalities, whatever you wanted, from the sales cloud, from the service cloud, from the marketing cloud, from everything, whatever this organization would have. If you require something else apart from this, that's a separate discussion. For that, we would be going to require uh, to create something new inside the Salesforce organization, and this is something what we called as customizations. And Salesforce allow you to do that as well. Up to a certain level, we can customize this product. All right. But at least what I am very much sure about one thing is, in the day one itself, as soon as I create an application, my application would be able to access or provide the functionalities of sales, service, marketing, community, collaborations, right? All these functionalities. Why? Because that is what a default feature of Salesforce. You could ask for anything anywhere, right? So Salesforce provide 100% customizable solutions for every business. And we have seen that we yesterday created one application. Today also I'll be creating some of the applications. All right. For this application, I have selected a default image. Now I will do one thing would be like, I will create one application. I will create one new application. How many we can maximum create in developer edition? The answer is 10. 10. We have studied about a governor limit yesterday, that when you are creating number of applications, I'm going to explain this as well. When we are creating number of applications, inside the free developer account, we can maximum create 10 custom application. And when we go with the unlimited edition, there is no restriction. You can go and create as many number of application as you wanted. Now, during that discussion, I initiated one point as well. And I have told you guys that please remind me by tomorrow morning, sorry, that I have to start with a topic called Salesforce multi-tenant architecture. And let's try to understand why there are governor limits in the Salesforce, why there are governor limits, why there are some of the restrictions everywhere. And these are everywhere, when you go with the applications, there is some restriction. When you go about object creation, there are other restrictions. When you go with the field creations, when you go with any business logic creations, see, governor limits are everywhere. Governor limits are everywhere. Every time, whenever you try to create something, Salesforce has given you one range. Salesforce has given you one boundary, that whatever you are trying to create, wherever the customization what type of customization you are doing, there is a limit of that. And that limit we used to call this as a governor limit. And this one this one is a very common question. Why there are governor limits in Salesforce? Why it is not like everything is available at any quantity for you? If you could access something, there's an abundant collection and you can simply access anything at any quantity. But it is actually not like that. whatever the feature, if you are doing certain customizations, if you are creating an application, if you are creating the custom objects, if you are creating custom fields, if you are creating business rules like workflows, process builders, flows, if you are creating reports and dashboards, everywhere, if you are creating permission sets, if you are creating assignment rules, everywhere there is governor limit. There is governor limit. That means for every customization, there is a kind of restriction that you cannot go beyond that point. Like in a free developer edition, we cannot create more than 10 custom applications. So why Salesforce has put up such, why Salesforce has imposed such a kind of restrictions on their users, the restrictions which we call as governor limits. All right. So for this, you have to understand something called as a multi-tenant architecture. Salesforce is purely built up on a multi-tenant architecture. What is a multi-tenant architecture? Let me first of all describe you this. All right. Going further would be a second thing. First of all, let's finish this up. What does it means by a multi-tenant architecture? See, frequently we have visited status.salesforce.com probably 2 to 3 times for different discussions. For the first time, when I was trying to explain you how exactly Salesforce provide you EAS, infrastructure as a service. So that was the first time, if you remember, guys, we came across the status.salesforce.com. We go to the Salesforce services, and then we came to know Salesforce have their own servers. They have their own servers in three different regions. In the three different regions across the world, they are having. They're having their servers in EMEA, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. They're having their servers in the America. They're having their servers in the Asia Pacific, the countries from the Asia and Australia, right? So these are the three different reasons. All right. Now these are what you can see. These all are the servers. These all are the servers, right? These all are the servers. We are also one of the organization. And if I wanted to see, okay, where exactly my instance, I mean, I'm located onto which server. So what we can do is like, we can go to company profile and then click on company information. Here I can see that we are on AP24. We are on AP24. That our server is AP24. I mean, if I wanted to locate that, I'll first of all go to Asia Pacific, and then I'll be locating myself as AP24. AP24, wherever it's over here, right? This is the server. This is the instance of that server where we are present. All right, our organization, all of the data, whatever the files and the data storage, that is being provided to us. If I can go with this, and I find out that this is my data space, this is my file storage space. I have consumed this much, and I have consumed this much for the files, and I'm remaining with this much. So these capacities you are getting it from a server called AP24, right? Now does it means that you are the only one organization which is on AP24? Is AP24 is your dedicated server? Are you alone in AP24? Are AP24 is completely used by you only? The answer is no. The answer is no. See, Salesforce follow something called as shared shared resources concept. All right. Everything, whatever is offered from the Salesforce is basically shared, is a shared resource. There is no concept of monopoly over here. There is no concept of dedicated functionalities. No. See, so what does it means is like, you are onto one of the server. For example, you are onto AP24. You are onto AP24. This is your organization. This is your organization. All right. Every organization have something called as an organization ID. We had a discussion onto that as well. Every organization have 18 digit. Here you will going to see only 15 digit, but actually it's 18 digit. Every organization have an 18 digit unique ID, 18 digit alphanumeric ID, and that is unique. No two organization would going to have same ID. This ID is unique. We call this as a primary key. Those who have learned a little bit knowledge of database, if they are having Oracle's SQL, PLSQL, whatever, they understand what is this terminology called as primary key. Primary key refers to any such value which is unique among different entities. In a real world, I could say that your PAN number, your Aadhaar card number, these are unique. Your mobile numbers that are unique. These are some of the unique numbers, we do have in our real life. No two person have same mobile number. No two person in India have the same Aadhaar card and a PAN card numbers. Everyone have their own unique number. So in the same way, every Salesforce organization have an 18-digit alphanumeric unique ID, and that always starts with 00T. For every server, for every instance, for every organization, for every edition of Salesforce, you are using a 30 days trial account, you are using a lifetime free developer account, unlimited account, paid version, enterprise, professional, user, whatever, group edition, whatever. The organization ID, this number always starts with 00T. All right. So that was one thing you should know about this. Now let me come to this, the main part. See, I could refer this diagram, I could refer this diagram to explain you a concept called multi-tenant. Multi-tenant. It's a multi-tenant. And it has been written in theory. I have told you that time. I will be explaining you this somewhere in the time. Multi-tenant. So see, what does it means by a tenant? First of all, what does it means by a tenant? Tenant means organization. Multi-tenant. All right, multi-tenant. See, so that time when I have, I mean, when we come across this, I told you that I will be taking this topic, but somewhere around later on, right? So this is the right time. This is the most appropriate time to discuss this. Tenant means organizations. Tenant means organization, particularly Salesforce organization. And multi-tenants means multiple organizations. See, so if you are sitting inside a server, you have seen that your instance is AP24. Your organization is sitting inside a server. The whole day, your data and the file, whatever you are generating, is being stored inside a server. Could be AP24, NA135, whatever. So this actually does not mean that you are alone inside that server and you are consuming the whole space of that. You're allowed to consume the complete space of that server. It is not like that. It is not like that. Let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you one thing. Salesforce follows something called as multi-tenant architecture. In a multi-tenant architecture, in a multi-tenant architecture, what does it refers to is like every server instance, though it's of EMEA, America, all right, or maybe Asia Pacific server, anyone, every server instance is being allotted to multiple organizations. There are multiple organizations, they have been allotted. They are being accumulated inside the same server. And if we talk about like how many different organizations are actually accommodated inside a single server, how many of them are sharing this particular server space commonly? The answer is 8,000. 8,000 different organizations. There are at least 8,000 different organizations that are being accumulated into the same servers, that are accommodated inside the same server. They are being residing inside the same server. 8,000. सोचिए आप जरा सा थोड़ा सा सोचिए इस बारे में. If you are sitting inside AP24, that means you are having at least 7,999 different neighbors. You are not the whole, what I could say is the single owner of this. No, this space, let's consider this is a very big building, Burj Khalifa. And there are 8,000 different flats into that. And in every flat, there is one family, So there are 8,000 different families which are living inside this Burj Khalifa AP24. So are we alone? Is the owner of this Burj Khalifa? No, we are a owner of one small segment into that. So see what is going to be happen. From here itself, the concept of governor limit is started. Okay, Salesforce has given you one resource called EAS, but that is not your dedicated. It is again shared into the 8,000 different organizations. Similarly, Salesforce has given you one feature called as PaaS, platform as a service. You will be going to understand that as a PaaS, you are getting something called force.com, and this is your database.com. What is in front of you is their database.com. Again, the force.com have your compilers, runtime engines, and all that. That is also shared between different organizations. So basically, whatever the facility, whatever the facility is provided to you from the Salesforce, you are actually not the single owner of that. This facility is shared among different organizations. If I talk about server space is shared between 8,000 different organizations. If I talk about like database.com is being shared among multiple organizations. If I talk about Apex runtime engine, they are again shared between different organizations. If I talk about like Apex queues, Flex queues, you will be learning everything, whatever I am, just the terminology is what I'm taking right now. Just to clarify the example, just to talk more about this example. Otherwise, you will be going to learn everything. But whatever the feature you are learning, you have to understand one thing. You are not a single owner of this. Salesforce give you this facility so that you could complete your task. You could develop something. But understand, there is no monopoly over here. And it all started from renting something. हमने जब शुरुआत की थी इस सब्जेक्ट की, इसको पढ़ने की, in the beginning itself, we understand in the cloud technology, there is a concept of as a service, as a service. Matlab everything, whatever the cloud vendor, like Salesforce is one of them. There are so many different cloud vendors, but there's one thing which is common between everybody. Whenever a cloud vendor offer you something, it offers you on a rental basis. Like it will not make you the owner of that product. Rather, you will be going, you will be entering in a small term agreements. Like for next 1 year, I'll be using your product. Next 2 years, I will be using your product. And I'm signing this contract for this much of duration, a small duration. This is something that I'm hiring you. I'm hiring your product for a certain duration of the time. And this is not a lifelong agreement. It's not a long-term contract. Rather, these are the small contracts, right? And this is what we call as a service. So that is the reason why there are governor limits in the Salesforce. So whatever the facility is given to you is actually being shared among different organizations, among different um, different Salesforce organizations, right? Salesforce users. So Salesforce have given everybody a quota for this. That this is your quota. Whatever you could access is within this boundary only. All right. जैसे कि अभी मान के चलो कि you go to a place where probably there are let's say there is an event over there and there are 1,000 participants, right? So they have like they have distributed among them into 1,000 different shelters, and for every shelter there is a particular quota that you would be given. You are going to give like 10 breads or 2 cup of the tea in the morning, then this is going to be your lunch, and then because they have to feed everybody, right? And they cannot say कि आपको ज्यादा मिलेगा आपको कम मिलेगा. No, it's not like that. They have to feed, they have to given the facilities, they have to give the facilities to everyone, and that is why they decided a quota over there. Okay, we are going to distribute this much of the quantity to this person, to this person, and to this person. This is something, a distribution of functionalities. This is something, the distribution of facilities what the Salesforce will provide you, and that come in a form of called governor limit. So you would be going to learn this everywhere. And the most important, you should remember this. You must be aware about governor limits. You must be aware about governor limits. Sometimes they ask you this in the interview. If even they don't ask you, you cannot simply ignore this. No. As a Salesforce administrator, as a Salesforce developer, you should have an extensive knowledge of the governor limits. You should be very much clear what are my limitations when I'm working something, when I'm developing something onto the Salesforce. All right. So this is very important to understand first, and then it is again very important that you should have, you should remember every governor limit of Salesforce. You wanted to create a document for it, that would be a good thing. What you guys can do is, like, you can create, in on a single paper, you could write down the governor limits of Salesforce, and there, or whatever you would be learning, whatever you are learning, you can just jot it down over there. The first thing is, like, when we are creating an application, in case of developer edition, we could maximum create 10 applications, not more than that. For the unlimited, there is, of course, there is no limit. There is no limit for unlimited edition, but at least when we are creating the application in the developer edition, we could maximum create 10. That is what. All right. So that was the whole discussion about this. And now let me tell you, let me create one more application. Yesterday, I created something called as HR management. All right. Let me create one more application. So I'm following the same steps what we have followed in the last session. So I'll be going with setup menu and then build menu. Inside the build menu, we are having one tab called create. All right. I'll be expanding this. I'm not going to click this, because if I click it over here, although this is going to be get expanded, but then it's going to load a page over here from the server, which I have no use, right? So I'll be just expanding, and I'm going with apps. I'm about to create application. All right. Yesterday I created this one. Let me now create one more. So this is what? A new application. So I'm clicking onto this new. Go with the custom app only. What is in console app? You are going to learn that as well. I'm creating an application called Merck Incorporation. All right. Merck Incorporation. I'm going with next button. Now here I wanted, previously for this application, I mean, I was not having any image with me. So what I did is, like, I go with the Salesforce default image. This one is what? For every application, this is the Salesforce default image. All right. But with my custom application, I wanted this, our client has given his own image, and he wanted that image, that logo, the client's firm logo, client's organization logo, to be get used for his application. All right. So I will be not going with this. I have to go with the image what client has given me. Let me try to find it out. This one, see, Merck Corporation. Inside 201 folder, I'm having this image. Client wanted that this image should be get used. This image should be used as the application logo, right? So how I can do that? How I can do that? So if I go with this insert an image button, you see, you are not actually getting a माइक्रोसॉफ्ट अब जो अपलोड करने का जो एक हमारा इंटरफेस होता है, rather I'm getting something my personal document, and moreover it is looking like to be a cloud place. See, it is looking like to be a cloud place. Why? Because it is having a URL. Matlab, it is actually not asking, it's actually not trying to get something from my computer, from my local machine. Rather, it is trying to get it from some other place. What is that place? Document. Salesforce have an object. Salesforce have a standard object called as document. All right, Salesforce have a standard object called as document. So understand one thing. Now let's come to the document. See, any static resource, if you wanted to use it, you have to upload it inside an object called as document. Any static resource. Now, what is this static resource, by the way? All right, let me clear out these terminologies as well. See, any sort of file, any sort of file. It could be an image file, like right now I'm having one image with me, and this image I wanted to use as an application's logo, as an image to represent the application, or like logo, whatever. Any sort of image, any sort of file, sorry. It could be an image file, could be a picture file, could be an audio file, a video file, a text file, a Word, PDF, Excel, right? And there are a few more formats. You can go and you can Google this file formats supported by Salesforce. You can get a list of all those. See, you can get a list of all those file formats that you can upload inside, document object. This is the list of all those. You can get it from help.salesforce.com. All right. New workflow rules are blocked. Oh my God. in winter 23. That is something I should learn. ये पढ़ना पड़ेगा मुझको. As we migrated over the powerful automation, workflow rules will be blocked starting in winter 23. New workflow rules. Winter 23 have been started. The ability to create new workflow rules if is blocked. My God. Guys, just a moment, all right? Just a moment. I haven't seen this, but this is something you have to see. अभी तो काम कर रहा है फिलहाल. As we migrate to a more powerful automation, the ability to create new workflows will be blocked starting in winter. You can still activate, deactivate, and add edit existing rule. Probably you would be the last batch जिसको मैं workflow create करना सिखाऊंगा. इसके बाद में workflows, workflows are getting removed from the Salesforce. Now it is है, अभी तो है यहाँ पे. So probably you would be the last batch जिसको वर्कफ्लो सिखाऊंगा मैम. ऑलराइट, मैं किस लिए आया था यहाँ पे? या हाँ, आई वाज जस्ट आई मीन आई वांटेड यू टू अंडरस्टैंड कि व्हाट काइंड ऑफ फाइल फॉर्मेट्स डू वी सपोर्ट inside Salesforce. See, these all are the formats. These all are the formats, that is supported by the Salesforce. All right. So any such kind of a file, any such kind of file which you wanted to be get uploaded inside the Salesforce, right? That is, first of all, we call this as a static resource. We call it as a static resource. We call this as a static resource. So if you wanted to upload, जैसे अभी हमारा requirement यहाँ पे क्या है? I wanted that this application what I am creating, I don't want it to go with this default image of Salesforce. Rather, client has given me his image, right? Client has given me his logo. And he's asking me that if you are creating one application for my purpose, why should I go with this image? Rather, you have a provision. If this is my application, it should display my logo. And it's a very obvious thing. आप सभी जानते हैं इस चीज को, right? You go with any application. सब हर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का अपना एक ब्रांड होता है ना, उसका अपना एक लोगो होता है. That itself represent कि ये जो particular logo है, this follows this brand. So, but when we try to insert, I mean, ठीक है चलो, I'm creating one application for the organization called Merck. And if I try to insert an image, but it is not taking that Microsoft uploader wala jo box hota hai. Rather, it is taking something else, and that it is actually routing me to an object called as document. It's trying to find out this object, this file. Sorry, it's trying to find out that image file inside an object called document. So understand, whenever you wanted to use any static resource for any purpose, right? You have to upload that. You have to upload. Could be of any sort of file. Combinedly, there is a common word for this, and we call this as a static resource. I will not saying कि ये image है, ये word file है, ये Excel sheet है, ये text document है, PDF है. No, I'll rather go with a common terminology, static resource. I would be saying, and I have an static resource, so that requires to be get uploaded into document, right? So there is a common term for that. What is in that term? Static resource. Okay. Now don't forget this. If because probably I am not sure कि इसको फिर कहाँ use करेंगे अपन. बट कुछ टर्मिनोलॉजीज ऐसी हैं जो आपको एक बार बता दी गई तो वी आई विल कंसीडर कि अब इसके बाद में तुमको फिर से बताने की जरूरत नहीं है. ठीक है. सो स्टैटिक रिसोर्स. So what we require to do is like, any static resource, whatever you wanted to use for any purpose. Right now, right now I am intended to create, I intended to get an image as a logo of one of the application, right? That must be get loaded. That must be first of all uploaded into an object called document. That must be first of all, you have to upload this image. You have to upload this image into an object called as documents. So what is the significance of document object in that case? Document object is that object of Salesforce. First of all, it's a standard object. It was there already. Everyone's organization is having this. This is something which provided to us from the Salesforce. So it's a standard object. Document is that standard object of Salesforce where if you wanted to use any static resource, you first of all, you have to upload this inside a document object. Now see, when you are uploading an image inside document, although there is no capacity, there is no capacity for that. You can even upload some big files as well. I'm not exactly sure what could be the final capacity. You can go and Google that. So if I could say, for example, if I'm uploading an image, that could be of any size over here inside a document object, all right. But if I wanted to use an image as a logo, there are restrictions. There are restrictions. There are restrictions. See, if you are uploading something into document, there is no restriction. Understand? Understand? ये दो अलग-अलग बातें हैं. आप इनको मिक्स मत करिए. एक बात हो रही है कि डॉक्यूमेंट ऑब्जेक्ट जो होता है उसमें आपको इमेज अपलोड करनी है. ठीक है, ऑल राइट. इमेज और कोई भी फाइल, जरूरी नहीं है इमेज ही. इट कुड बी एनी स्टैटिक रिसोर्स. वो फिर एक वर्ड फाइल भी हो सकती है, कोई पीडीएफ का डॉक्यूमेंट भी हो सकता है, वो एक्सेल शीट हो सकती है, वो इमेज फाइल हो सकती है, अलग अलग तरह की, ऑडियो भी हो सकता है, वीडियो भी हो सकता है. तो व्हेन आई एम अपलोडिंग समथिंग इनटू डॉक्यूमेंट ऑब्जेक्ट, इट कुड बी ऑफ सम बिग साइज, चलता है, कुछ ऐसा टेंशन नहीं है. बट लेकिन अगर इफ यू आर इंटेंडेड, हमारा मकसद जो है कि हम कोई इमेज को एज अ लोगो यूज करें, देन देयर इज सर्टन रिस्ट्रिक्शंस ऑन टू दैट. तो यहाँ पे एक रिस्ट्रिक्शन है कि द साइज शुड बी within 20 kb. If you wanted to use an image as a logo, then उसका साइज जो होता है ना वो 20 kb होना चाहिए, not more than 20 kb, not more than 20 kb. ठीक है, मतलब मैक्सिमम 300 पिक्सल्स बाय 55 पिक्सल्स उसका साइज होना चाहिए. सो इफ आई इफ आई वांटेड दिस इमेज टू बी गेट यूज, तो मुझे सबसे पहले राइट क्लिक करके इसका प्रॉपर्टी चेक कर लेना चाहिए. एंड आई हैव टू सी दैट ये 20 kb से कम हो. तो आई कुड सी दैट ये 4 kb है. इट्स 4 kb. 1 किलोबाइट इज 1024 बाइट्स. तो 4 केबी है, तो ठीक है. हमारा कैपेसिटी कितना है? अप टू 20 केबी सेल्फोर्स अलाउ मी टू यूज एन इमेज एज एन लोगो. दिस इज ऑफ 4 केबी. तो परफेक्ट, बिल्कुल परफेक्ट है ना, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. तो हम सबसे पहले एक इमेज अपलोड करते हैं. तो आई फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल गो टू द डॉक्यूमेंट ऑब्जेक्ट एंड देन यू हैव अ बटन, you have a button in the recent document. Pallavi, could you please was this please stop your video. All right. So in the recent document section, you have a button called new. Up, just make a click. Give the name to document. I'm giving the name as Merck logo. All right, Merck logo. And one important thing that everyone have to follow. Don't forget to click this externally available image. I would be showing you, if you don't click it, what happens, and if you click it, what happens. Let's go with positive testing first of all. Click externally available image, right? Now get the file. So now see, if you now choose it, this is a Microsoft interface. It's a Microsoft interface. It's a Microsoft. It will allow you to get the file from your hard disk. So I'll be going with this folder and admin. Where is that image? Yeah, this one. All right. So I have selected that image. If you know the path, if you're getting an image from maybe a URL, you can give the URL as well. But better is what, you download it into your system, see the size of it. If the size is greater than 20 kb, you cannot use that. You can upload it into document, no problem. If the size even is greater than 20 kb, you can upload, but you cannot use the same image for the logo. All right. So that you have to understand. Now I'm saving this. Now I'm saving this. See. So it will now create a record inside document object. This is a record. This is a record. If it is a record, it must have an ID. Yes, of course, it is having an ID 015. In the starting, you can see 015. See, 015. 015 is the ID of document, object ID, and rest followed is your record ID. So this is what this is a record. It's created. This is a document created inside object. All right. So now see, I'll show you something. If I don't click this externally available, all right, and now if I save this, what is going to be happen? First of all, did that record is created? Yes, is created. Why? Because if there is a record ID, this means there is a record. There is a record inside document, there is an image inside document, but we cannot use that image. So if you, for example, if you wanted to upload something inside document, but you don't wanted any user for now, at least due to certain reasons, could be any reason. Due to some of the reasons, probably probably we would require to get some approvals onto that. All right. But you have uploaded something. So, if you, if, for example, if there is an image or if there is a file for which we would require to get the approvals. So although I have uploaded it inside document, but because, the approvals is yet to be finalized, so we would not click this. So what would be going to happen? That record would be still in the document, but nobody would access it. Nobody can use it. And this is how we make some documents as restricted documents. All right. So, but in our case, this is not, I mean, this is not the use case. We have to make it available because I wanted this image to be get used as a logo. And that's the reason I'm making this externally available. All right. Now I'm going with this. Now I'm going with this. I'm going with insert an image. Now see, you can see that there is a name of one record. Inside document, there's a name called Merck logo. What is the size? 3 KB. What is allowed? 20 KB. So if you definitely use this image. Now, as you can see, the image has been replaced. All right, and going with next. Now decide what you want. I mean, what are the tabs you wanted to have inside this applications? So I'm going with all these. And this, it is not something that it's a one-time selection. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. अभी आप select कर लो if you are not sure. So just go with few of the tabs. Just go with few of the tabs. And later on, you could definitely make the changes in the tab bar. The first thing what we have learned in the customization was the customization of tab bar, right? And make it visible for all of the profile users for now, because you don't know what is a profile and you don't know what's a security. But anyway, this is the first level of security, right? You could decide that an application should be visible to somebody and it should be hidden from someone else, right? So that is first level of security. There are 5 levels of securities in Salesforce. This is the uppermost. This is the uppermost, and we call this as an application level security. You will be going to learn it in a very detail. Don't worry. I'm just introducing, I'm making you aware about something. आज कुछ बता देता हूँ, आज से 2 महीने बाद फिर से वही टर्म उठाऊंगा, तो probably तुमको अपनी याददाश्त वापस आएगी कि अरे ये तो मैंने सुना हुआ है, सुना सुना सा लग रहा है ना? So this is the first level of security. But right now you don't make any choices. I wanted every one of you to make it visible for all of the profile users, right? Do it and then save it. So one of the application is going to be get created. See, one more custom application. We created this one. Now one more custom application with the name Merck, right? And if I wanted to see, I have to go with the app launcher. I can see one application has been added. Let me just make a click over there. Now see Merck Incorporation, and this is the logo. Understood? This is what? This is the second application I have created. All right. So this is the second application. Now, can I edit this application to have, I mean, not to have the Salesforce default image? Yes, we can even do that. But see, first of all, get the image and store it inside a document. No, store it inside a document. So I'm having this document object. I'll go with document tab. I'm adding one new image to this. Let me give this name as HR management logo. HR management logo. All right. That you can give any name, just try to give the relevant as far as possible. Make it externally available, get an image. Let me try to see whether I'm having any image with me for this purpose. Let me go with this talent acquisition. All right, and let me save this. So I'm having this image of the size as 7 KB, so I could definitely use this as a logo. All right, so this is the application I created yesterday, but right now it is having Salesforce default image. All right, so let's make those changes. So I'm going with setup once again. I'm going with create. I'm expanding the create. I'm going with apps. You can see the name of this application. You wanted to edit, there are two possibilities. Go with edit link directly, or you can open it and then edit it, right? It's up to you. All right, so this is the image which is right now it's holding, but I would rather prefer, insert image, and then I'm having one image called HR management logo. See, and let me save this. Let me save this. So now even the your application would have this image, HR management. All right, so this is what is something you have to make a practice by today. And one more thing is like, I wanted, the last thing would be like, see, in the app launcher, if you go and see the applications what you have created, they are at the bottom of this list. Sometimes even client would ask you ki, whenever I make a login into the Salesforce account, I have to access this application or maybe this. So every time, whenever I open it, it seems to be that this application is the bottom of the list. Can you bring it up top of the list? Yes, of course, that is also possible. That is also possible. A small customization would required in that case. I'll go with setup menu once again. I'll go with like create and apps. And you see these are the names of all application. Just click onto this button, reorder. The reorder. Okay, just click onto this. It will open an interface. So we are having these applications right now. The application what we have created is at this 208 HR management. So just put your cursor, and click it. This is something called as drag and drop. Drag and drop. Just drag it to the place, where you wanted this to be accommodated. So I'll just bringing this to the top of the list. Now I can see that 208 HR management is at the top. That's it. हो गया. इसमें कुछ save wave नहीं करना पड़ता. Like, you just require to refresh the interface. Now, once you refresh it, when you see, see, 208 HR management, that is on the top of the list, right? So this is a small thing, what you should know. All right. So that's all for today. Tomorrow we're going to learn document object is completed. Tomorrow we're going to start with the concepts of objects. That's all for today. Any questions? Any questions? All right. Thank you so much for joining in that case. No questions. Thank you so much.